Hey, you guys, it's Matt Fraser, the psychic medium. And did you miss me? Oh my God, you guys, I am so sorry for not being here on social media. I have been out traveling the country, coming from city to city to city. And if you guys haven't seen my tour schedule, I'm coming to some amazing places. I'm actually headed to Las Vegas next. I'll be there February 16th and 17th. Where I'll be giving live readings at the Venetian. I'm also coming to Anaheim, California, Modesto, California, Sacramento, California. I'm also coming to Iowa for the first time, Indiana for the first time. I'm coming to London, Ontario, Canada, Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. Oh my God, there's so many states, so many cities, so many places, you guys. So if you'd like to see me live and in person, just go to meetmattfraser.com. And listen, I love how people have been writing on my social media saying, Matt, where the hell are you? Are you okay? We haven't seen you. You guys, if you can't find me, just go to my website and you'll see every single city, every single state that I'm in. You don't have to be dead to find me. I promise you guys. I've just been on the road touring. I also added some new Massachusetts dates. I'm coming to New Hampshire. So many new places. So make sure you check it out, meetmattfraser.com. And what I also want you guys to know is that tomorrow I will be giving live readings online. So if you're attending tomorrow online, I want to let you guys know that I'm so excited to meet you. If you're not attending, it means that you didn't sign up in time. But I just added some new online readings with me in March. So if you'd like to join me live online for an online reading on Zoom, here's what you're going to do. Go to meetmattfraser.com, meetmattfraser.com, and click on online readings. That's where you can find all of the online readings that I'm going to be doing. Actually, January sold out, February sold out, but I have 3 dates left in March. I hope to see you there. It's $22 to sign up. But I want to be here to talk to you guys today about when souls pass on. Do souls come back and haunt the houses that they lived in, right? And what if you felt a spirit in your home, a spirit in your house, a spirit in your hotel room, a spirit in your in your vacation home? Has it ever happened to you? Have any of you ever felt a spirit in your home? Have you ever felt a spirit in another person's home? Maybe it was a friend of yours that you went to visit and you felt a man there with you, or a woman there with you. Maybe it was that you stayed in a hotel room and you felt a presence, right? What I want you guys to know is that this is real. And I want to talk to you guys all about hauntings and what you think are hauntings. I see Ida's saying, yes, she felt that. Jen is saying, yes, she felt spirits in the house. Claire's saying she felt spirits in the house. Sapphire Run says, yes, many times. Renee is saying, yes. Pauline is saying, yes. You guys, what I want you to know is this, okay? When souls go to the other side, when souls transition on, it's very common for souls to come back and visit places here on earth that they loved. Now, there's a very big difference with souls haunting a place and souls coming back to check up on a place. So, for example, sometimes this happens during online readings and it freaks people out. I'll never forget, I was reading, oh my God, you guys, I freaked the hell out of this couple. There was a man and his wife that attended my online group reading. It actually happened, I think it was not last year, but the year before. They were at one of my online group reading events. And I saw them sitting on the couch. And the moment that I saw them sitting on the couch, there was this woman who died, who walked by with an oxygen tank and was telling me in spirit that she had COPD and died of COPD. So right away, I was like, I'm like, there's this woman that's here that's with you. She shows me she's walking around with an oxygen tank, and I see that she passed of COPD. And right away, they looked at each other, and their faces went white. And I was like, is this your grandmother? And they were like, no. They're like, that's the woman who owns this house. They're like, we just moved in a couple weeks ago, and, we feel her. And you guys, they were so freaked out because this woman loved her house. She loved her house with everything. She only wanted to die in her house, and she got her wish. When she had passed away, she died in the house. She was surrounded by her friends, by her family, and she passed away right there. And they were a little bit leery to move into the house because the house that they were actually, had their eye on the house for quite some time. They were renting in the nearby area. And they knew the woman, knew of the woman, and they knew how much she loved that house. And they never expected the house to come on the market because of the fact that I'm forgetting the story. It was so long ago. They never expected the house to get on the market because of the fact that The woman's kids were supposed to take over the house. I don't know why that was so hard to explain. But anyways, the woman's kids were supposed to take over the house. She passed away. Long story short, the kids didn't want the house. So they were so excited. They bought the house. And when they moved in, they started to feel some weird things. They started to feel like they weren't alone. They started to feel like someone else was in the room. They started to feel like someone else was in that space with them. For example, when they'd watch TV, they felt like somebody walked by and they were a little bit creeped out. And then when I went and I read them and that woman came through, they about pooped their pants, you guys. They thought that the house was haunted. Well, here's what I want you to know. When I did that reading, that woman's soul wasn't living in the house with them. When they slept in her old room, she wasn't sleeping on the side of the bed, or in bed with them, right? What actually was happening was that was a place that she loved here in this world. That house was hers, right? When she was alive. Well, what happens when we die? When we die, we give up our material things, right? We give up our jewelry, our cars, our houses, all of these things when we transition onto the other side because it's no longer needed, right? But those things still have a place within our heart. It's the reason why when I give readings, a soul might come through and say to their daughter, hey, I know that you kept my wedding ring and I love that you kept my wedding ring. Or a soul might come through and say, hey, I see that you kept my hat, or I see that you kept my car. I'm so happy that you have it. It's because of the fact that it made them happy here in this world. And they want to see you being happy with those items. And oh my God, who just said hello from Ohio? Sharon, I'm coming to Ohio, by the way. I just announced I'm coming to Cincinnati, Ohio. So I hope that that's near you. Tickets are up on my website. I got so many new places, you guys, and I'm coming. You're going to be so excited with me. And don't forget, I'm coming to California, Canada. I'm coming to Las Vegas. And by the way, if you guys are coming to Las Vegas, I see some of your comments. What I want you to know is there's only a few seats left to the Las Vegas show in February. So Vegas, I'm coming the week of Thanksgiving. I'm coming the week of Valentine's Day to Las Vegas. So if you want to join me, you guys, there's only a few seats left. There's about 10 tickets left to, I think, the second night. So meetmattfraser.com, meetmattfraser.com. Claire, I hope to see you there. But anyways, not to get distracted. When we transition onto the other side, we let go of the material things that we had here in this world. But they still have a special place within our heart, right? We want to see our things passed down. We want to see our cars go to our kids, our house go to our kids. We want to see our granddaughter wearing our wedding ring or wearing our special jewelry or holding on to our pictures or holding on to that blanket that was made or crocheted, right? Those are the things that mean things to your loved ones on the other side. But what I want you guys to know is that it's not just those things that your loved ones are attached to. When your loved ones make their transition to the other side, what they will also do is they'll also go and visit the places that they loved. That includes places that they vacationed, places that they lived, and places that they just used to like to go to. For example, when I'm doing readings, many times your loved ones in spirit will appear to me and your loved ones will tell me that they're in a specific place. So your loved ones will come through and say, Matt, tell my daughter that I'm walking Narragansett Beach, and I'll tell the daughter that, and they'll be like, oh my God, my mom always used to walk Narragansett Beach when she was alive. That was her favorite place to go. Or maybe your loved one will say to me, Matt, tell my daughter that I'm on the farmland, that my family once owned. And I'll tell the daughter that or the son that, and they'll be like, oh my God, my mom talked about that farmland all the time. That was from long ago. What I want you guys to know is this. What I want you to know is that when I'm connecting with the other side, your loved ones still love those places here on earth, right? It's just like us. Just like us. We might move to another city. We might move to another state, but there's still places in our hearts that we remember, places where we grew up, our old childhood home. And do you ever wish, just think about your life. Do you ever wish that you could go back to a certain place? Maybe it was a place that you met your husband. Maybe it was a restaurant that was since torn down. Maybe it was a place that you grew up in. Maybe it was your old house. Maybe it was your own old neighborhood. Maybe it was another country. Maybe it was a place where you shared a certain memory. And this is a really good question. Rosie's asking, what, Matt, do we have a house in heaven? We do. And in heaven, your house pretty much looks like your house here in this world, right? So the thing is that, remember, heaven is a reflection of what we loved here in this world. So many times when I talk to your loved ones in spirit, the places that they are in heaven are the places that they were here in this world. So for example, if you had a house that you loved here in this world, when I connect with you in heaven, you might show me that where you're living in heaven most looks like that place here on earth, right? Because heaven is a reflection of just that. So why I'm telling you this is because it's very, very, very common for your loved ones in spirit to come back to the places that they lived. They're not there to haunt the place, right? For example, a lot of people get this confused. I can't tell you how many friends, family members, relatives will say to me, Matt, you got to come to my place. It's haunted. You got to come to my condo. I'm in this condo now, and I swear that there's someone there. And when I get there, there is someone there, but they're not moved in, right? It's just a soul that comes to check up on that place. For example, I'm going to tell you a little story, all right? This is something that I really want to share with you because it's something that I think will really put it into perspective. So when I connect with the other side, right? What's so beautiful is your loved ones will show me things that they get to see through a heavenly perspective now that they're gone. So, for example, and I remember when I was a little kid, this was one of the first times I had like a spirit experience like this. There was a woman who had moved into this. I lived in back in the day they called it starter homes, right? Homes that were really small that young people with families would go to start a family. So my parents were in the house because it was my grandparents' house and they raised me there. And there was this woman who came and had two kids in the house and raised her family in this home, right? She was our next door neighbor. Well, she had passed away and the house was put up for sale. And after the house was put up for sale, there was another young mother who moved into the house who had one child, another child on the way, right? And that was their starter home. And I remember that when I would go to visit them at the house and I would go and see them, what was so amazing is that that neighbor that had passed away was still in the house with them, right? From time to time, not in the house all the time, watching what they were doing, going in the bathroom, things like that. It wasn't like that. It was that, the spirit of my old neighbor went back to her old house because she used to like to see the children in the house, right? She used to check up on them growing up. She loved her house being utilized. She looked at the house and how they transformed it into the girls' room and the boys' room. She saw the children playing. It brought her happiness from the spirit world to see another young family going in, enjoying that house. So and it's funny, I remember asking my new neighbor that lived there, I'm like, hey, listen, do you ever feel so-and-so's spirit here? The woman who lived here before. And she would say, yeah, Matt, actually quite a bit. I felt her around my children. And she actually told me there were some times where, some creepy things had happened. So you might think it's creepy where a child's toy would go off in the middle of the night. But it wasn't that the house was haunted, you guys. It was this woman who lived there before. She was a loving woman, a beautiful woman, loved children. She was actually a nurse here in this world. And that's why she came back to check up on that house, right? So what I want you to know is that sometimes when you feel souls in a house, it's not because they're haunting it, right? They don't mean anything bad. They don't mean anything evil. They're just souls that had a special place in their heart for that particular residence or that particular place. And that's the reason why, and yes, Terry, sometimes spirits can be very protective. Sometimes spirits that you don't know where they are protecting you, and that's the perfect example. For example, Alexa and I just moved into our new house, and it was our neighbors, and our neighbor, same kind of story. Our neighbor loved this house. They built this house. We bought it. We bought it from their children after they had passed on. And, I talk to my neighbors that live there all the time. All the time, I'm like, watch over our house, protect our house. Let us have a lot of great memories here. Let us enjoy the house just as much as you did. To me, Alex is saying it's creepy, right? It's not creepy to me because, like I said, to me, I see the souls come back and love those things, love watching you enjoy that place of living, love watching you enjoy their car. But what I also want you to know is this, is that it's not just souls that you might feel as well. Sometimes what happens is that the living actually leave energy behind as well. So the only time a house is actually haunted is if there's an evil spirit that's living there. So sometimes what happens is that if there, and it's very rare, but there are times when evil spirits can move into a house. Now, I will tell you, not houses that are occupied, right? Many times, the only time I've seen, a house actually be haunted was a house that was, left abandoned for years and years, was in foreclosure, nobody lived there. And an evil spirit, because remember, dark and evil spirits like to be alone, found themselves in that house. And the people who bought it, when they moved in, there was an evil spirit that was there. But they saged and, they commanded that soul to leave and that soul left, right? It wasn't like you see on television where, exorcisms are involved, that stuff doesn't happen. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't happen. It does happen to some extent, but not, there'll be, Rebecca says that's interesting. I hope it's interesting. I'm not scaring you guys, but I want to tell you guys the truth, right? Because there's not many evil spirits. So the thing is that none of you will ever have the, situation where you have to deal with an exorcism or things like that. I've never dealt with it. And I talk to thousands and thousands and thousands of souls. So if I haven't gone with it, like I said, you wouldn't have to deal with it or go through it, because there's not that many evil spirits there. And like I said, if there is an evil spirit that, is in your space or in your house, chances are, you ask them to leave, they leave. There's nothing else that has to be done. I actually teach about this. It's called psychic protection. But what I want you to know is that people like me and you can actually leave energy behind as well. Oh my God, thank you guys. I love it when you guys tell me that, give me this feedback, like Roman saying this is all fascinating and Melissa saying it's a little creepy, right? I don't blame you for thinking that. And but I want, and Denise is saying, Matt, well, my husband's business is being sold. Is he going to haunt me for it? Absolutely not. Your loved ones know what you're going through. Like even last night, there was a man that I was connecting with, and his dad had passed away, and him and his dad had a business together. And after his dad died, he sold his dad's business. But his father wasn't upset about it. His dad knew that it was too much for him to run the business himself. So what I want you to know is this, right? Is that energy isn't just left behind by souls. It's also left behind by us. So no matter where we go, you guys, no matter what we touch, we leave behind a certain energy. So for example, there was a friend of mine one time who decided to open up her office in the old unemployment office, okay, in our town. And the moment that she opened up her office in the old unemployment office, the moment you walked in, it was such sad energy. The moment you walked in, it felt cold, it felt stale, it felt sadness, it felt pressure, it felt all of these things, right? But what was amazing is that she took this terrible space like that had all this terrible energy behind, and she made it her own. She changed the energy around, she made it into her office, and guess what? The minute that she started throwing paint up on the walls and bringing in plants and bringing in her friends and, making it her own, she replaced the old energy that was there with her positive energy, and she completely changed the space. So what I want you to know is that many times people think that their houses are haunted because they might feel energy that's left behind. This happens a lot, you guys, with apartments, okay? Especially if you're living next door to somebody who's nasty, angry, or negative, right? You might not have any interaction with that person, but that energy can filter into your apartment. Or maybe you move into an apartment. Apartments are always the worst because apartments have a lot of energy of people coming and going. So when you move into an apartment, chances are you're going to feel like it's haunted because one of the people who lived there before you, right? Let's say you had 5 people living in that apartment before you moved in. One of those 5 people probably had some shit going on, meaning that maybe they were going through a divorce, maybe they were sad, maybe they're depressed, maybe they were just a little bit crazy, right? And you feel that energy. It's energy that's left behind. The same way that fingerprints are left behind on a wall, so is energy from humans. So what I want you to know is this, right? Is that, oh my God, I love that. Michelle goes, I'm so happy that you're telling me about this, talking about this, Matt. Thank you so much. Well, it's true. Because I can't tell you how many house calls I get where people are like, come to my apartment, it's haunted. And when I get there, it's not a soul that's there, but it's energy that's left behind, right? I can't tell you, oh my God, I can't tell you how many times when Alexa and I were looking for houses, I think the realtor wanted to freaking kill me, you guys, because when I wasn't interested in a house, right? When I wasn't interested in a house, I'd go into a house, I'd be reading the house. So I'd go in the house and be like, ooh, the person who was here had 2 dogs. I can feel the dogs here. And they're like, why did the person die? I'm like, no, I just know who lived here before. It was a woman. She had 2 dogs. And I would like tell the story. And they're like, how do you know this? The realtor would be like, you're right. There was 2 dogs. How did you know this? And I'm like, because houses, apartments, condos, they have our energy, right? They hold on to our energy, right? Good or bad. And there was a couple houses that I went into that some really terrible things happened. I remember I went to one house that I went to look at, and, there was a domestic struggle that went on. The husband and wife were going through a divorce. The police were called many times because of the fact that, it was unfortunately a very abusive relationship. And the moment that I walked into the house, I felt it. I felt the police. I felt police arriving. I felt, abuse in the house. I felt all this terrible, nasty energy. And I remember feeling all of this. And at the time, the realtor didn't know who had lived there or what had happened. And I asked the neighbor. I saw the neighbor getting into the car. It's actually funny. The neighbor knew who I was. And I said, "Hey," I says, "I just gotta ask you. I got some weird energy in this house." And I described what I was feeling. And the neighbor said to me, "Oh my God, Matt." She's like, "This is crazy." She's like, "I've lived here for 25 years. That's exactly what happened. They had to get divorced. The police were always here. It was an abusive relationship." So this is what I want you guys to know. Because even though I'm psychic, right, and I get these things, I'm not the only one. Even if you don't feel psychic, you feel energy and you can feel that too. So what I want you to know is this. There is a way. Yes, Becca asked the golden question. How do you get rid of bad energy, right? How do you stop feeling those souls, right? How do you push the energy out? Well, it's making your space your own. When you make a space your own, you push out that energy, good or bad, and you put your energy in. When you walk into a house or a place and it doesn't feel like you, it doesn't feel like your energy or your home, it's because it needs more of you, right? So, for example, how do you do this? Well, it's not that you just go in and get a company to paint the walls. When Alexa and I moved into our new house just recently, I made sure that when we moved in, I made sure that Alexa and I did a lot of work ourselves, what we could do. Now, as you guys know, I listen, I can hang pictures, okay, but I'm not good at painting and all that there. So, what we could do, we did ourselves, whether it be cleaning the windows, right? Hanging up pictures, playing music, what else did we do in the house? Oh my God. We went and we put some of the doors up ourselves. All of those little things is you putting your energy into the space. So when you go and you bring in fresh plants, you bring in your pets, you hang up pictures of people that you love, you invite that energy into your space, right? It's good feng shui. And that's what I want to share with you guys as well. So, and yes, music too, clear. Absolutely. Right. So, what I want you to know is that when you enter a space, it's important to bring your vibe, to bring your energy, because there's one thing that I want you to know. And that is what's so important. The rule of energy is that energy displaces energy. So, you can have you can have an apartment with bad energy, but the moment that you move in, right, and you start really bringing your energy into that space, the bad energy has nowhere to go. It has to get out. That's what's so amazing. So think of it this way. The same way that when you go through what's a good analogy that I can use? Oh my God. Okay, here's a really good one. The same way that when you go and you buy a new car, right? The moment that you go and you get it, it might be filled with all of the old person's belongings. But the moment that you take it out and you put your own belongings, right? You fill it with your energy. It's the same thing with the house as well. So what I want you guys to know is that if you're feeling bad energy, right? Or this is a good one. Larry goes, put the bad energy in a spare bedroom. No, you can't do that. Listen, if it's not, here's the thing. If it doesn't belong in your house, it doesn't belong in your house. Oh, this is a good question. So Barbara's going, Matt, if a person's ashes are in a different place, do they bring their energy? Your loved ones are with you no matter what, whether or not you have their ashes or not. Just like, for example, it's no different than if somebody was buried at a cemetery, right? Your loved ones are still with you. They still come in and check on the house. And that's another point too, you guys. Like, how many times I do readings and people think that their houses are haunted when really it's just their dad that had died or their aunt that had died or their sister that had died that's coming in and checking up on them and being with them in that house. So I want to share that with you guys as well. That's so, so, so important, because I don't want you guys to be afraid or to think that, that someone's haunting your house or that a spirit is, that a spirit is something that you have to be afraid of. Most are just souls that are coming to check in on you for all the right reasons. And I want you to know that. So not only might you feel past owners in your house, right? But you'll also feel the energy of your own loved ones as well. For example, a lot of people will come to me and say, Matt, there's a soul in my house. And that soul is their dad that died or sister that died, or like I said, pet that passed. And actually, you guys, I'll never forget when I first moved into my condo. So this was really cool. I want to share this with you. So Oh my God, Sandy was in Red Bank. Sandy goes, Matt, did you see me Wednesday night in Red Bank? No, Sandy, I didn't. I would have came up and hugged you if I saw you. Oh my God, I didn't know you were there. I was so in my zone, Sandy, that sometimes when I'm doing readings and the readings are really intense and I'm in my zone, I don't remember what the hell I'm saying, who the hell I am, or where I'm going. It's actually funny because sometimes, like, friends of mine will come to the show and they'll be, Matt, how did you not see me? I was front row. I'm like, listen, I'm looking at the dead. I'm not looking at the living. But anyways, I'm happy that you were there. What I want you to know is when I moved into my condo, I want to share this with you because this is really an amazing story. So I remember when I moved into my condo, I almost shit my pants, you guys. I was at the condo and I was all by myself, and it was about 10 o'clock at night. I was getting tired, but I was hanging up pictures. And I went down to the lower level, the downstairs basement. It was finished. And I went and I started hanging pictures up on the wall. And when I went to go and turn around to grab another picture, there was a man that was standing there. And I like jumped back and I dropped the picture because he startled me. I was expecting there not to be any soul in the house. When I walked in, there was no soul there. All of a sudden, there's a man that died that was there. Wasn't scary. It just spooked me because he came up on me quick. And he actually came through the wall, you guys. So I was like, Nanny thinks I'm funny. I was like, listen, I'm just telling you how it is. So, anyways, he came through the wall, you guys. So I was like, who are you? And he said to me, he goes, that's my condo next door to you. He says, my wife lives there. He said, I wanted to see who was moving into this space. So I said, oh, your wife is living. And he says, yes. He says, my wife lives next door to you. Downstairs was our reading area. This is where we used to go. Where my wall was adjoining his wall. And he told me that he used to go down there and watch TV. So anyways, that being said, he vanished and he was gone. He just, let me know that his wife was next door and he was protective and watching over her. So next thing you know, couple days go by and I meet the lady next door and I say to her, hi. So you're gonna think it's really weird, but I'm a medium. I connect with the other side. Did your husband pass away? And she says, yes, my husband passed away. And I says, he came to visit me last night. She's like, what do you mean? So I'm like, I was hanging up pictures and he came through the wall and I seen him and he told me that downstairs was like his area. He had a desk down there and he watched TV in the corner. And she started crying. And she was like, yeah, that was him. That's where he went. And that's just one of the stories of how you can sometimes feel souls in your house. But I never seen him again. He's never been back since that moment. And I just thought that was so beautiful because he was checking up on his wife. Karen goes, that's so trippy. Karen, this is my life every freaking day, all right? Whether I'm sitting on the toilet, shitting on the toilet, washing myself in the shower, all right? Or doing my hair. It doesn't stop. The souls are all over. And Colleen goes, speak of the devil, look at that. My alarm's going off. My ring. Oh, hold on, you guys. I gotta go and handle that because that is the living that's there. But anyway, that being said, tomorrow I'm giving live readings online. If you'd like to join me for a live reading in this office, I'm going to be doing live readings on Zoom. Guys, I only have 3 dates left with me in March. It's $22 to sign up for a live online reading. Go to meetmattfraser.com. There's 2 ways to get a reading with me. Meetmattfraser.com. Click on online readings, or you can join me live on tour. I got to see who's at my door. But if this video was helpful to you, please click share. Also, don't forget, I'm coming to California, Las Vegas, Ohio, Massachusetts, Peterborough, Ontario, Canada, London, Ontario, Canada. You can meet me live and in person. Or if you'd like to join me for a live online reading, stop what you're doing right now. Go to meetmattfraser.com. There's 3 dates left in March. I don't know why I put up 2 fingers. 3 dates left in March. That one got stuck. 3 dates left in March, you guys. It's $22 to attend. It's during these events that I'm going to be reading you guys and connecting you with your loved ones. So I hope you'll join me. Meetmattfraser.com. I'll see you soon.